All right, welcome back to the Client Spotlight. I am with a multifaceted entrepreneur, Kristen Siqueiros today. Kristen is the CEO of Langston Securities. She also does a lot of other things. She works with the National Women in Construction out in Arizona, and you guys do lots of really cool things. So, Kristen, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Steve. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. So listen, we've done a lot of different hires with you. We've done a project manager role. We've done a DOO role. We've hired an outside sales role. So we've hit a lot of different buckets of your business. You run a fantastic, successful, growing business. I want to first ask you, why did you decide to work with us? Why did you want to go with Ciprani Consulting instead of doing this yourself?
I think every business has a growth point where they're looking for the right people to put in the right position, and they just can't get over that hump until they do. We were at a Tony Robbins event, and we were asked, how do you hire? How do you hire that next level? And someone who knew someone used your services and referred us to you, and that's how we got connected.
Okay, awesome. And then I always love to ask everyone, you've been through several different roles with us now, but when you first started our process, what was one thing you were really excited about and one thing that, maybe you're a little afraid of?
Sure. What I was really excited about was having people who already know how to recruit for a specific level of experience and already have the skills and the knowledge and the background to be able to do it. That takes a load off of you, especially if you don't already have one of those systems in place.
Mhm.
We did. We had it, but it was more for the front line. We never had it for that next level of a hire. And so having that and um, a team that works behind the scenes that takes off the daily load of the rest of the team has been phenomenal. I would say, and the communication has been awesome. That's the best part of it.
Hmm.
And then I would say what I was most afraid of is, am I doing the right thing? Am I really hiring this position because it's what my business needs, even though I've never hired for this position before? And even if it hasn't turned, even if a hire doesn't turn out right, there's always a lesson out of it. And
Yes.
you keep growing out of that lesson, right? So, but for what I can see, and is by taking the chance of hiring at a higher level has been instrumental in the growth, so much so that the IRS gets a lot of taxes out of me now.
Yep, they always find a way to do that, don't they? Yeah. One, I love what you said. I think we always look for growth-minded, independent problem solvers. And, you are that kind of person where you can take whatever's happening and turn that into a positive. So I've always loved that about you. Let's talk a little bit more about what the hiring process was like. One of the things I know that was really important to you was understanding the importance of assessments. And, we love that and value that as well. But just tell me what that process was like as we never claimed to be the expert of anyone's business. I don't know a lot about securities other than what I've learned from you, really. But talk to me about our process and kind of how we melded that together, specifically around the importance of assessment and having that clarity of what you were looking for.
Sure, yeah. I know that your business has offered several different types of assessments already before we had worked together, and we already were using a different company for assessments called the Predictive Index. Whereas I know that like the DISC assessment was one of the larger assessments that you use,
Right.
as well as other options. But I believe that as long as you're trained on the tool correctly and what it is that you're looking for, any assessment could be helpful when it comes to recruiting. Because it's never, and again, it's a science. It's not exact. It's just those assessments help reduce the odds of hiring wrong, right? Because
Right.
I believe the idea behind an assessment is how well will this person do in this position? How are they hardwired? What are their strengths, that also align with this role? And that's how I look at these assessments. And the DISC assessment I really like because it's a little bit easier to understand with the D, the I, the S, the C, and the characteristics and building a team around those different personalities and characteristics. When you're building a team and you're looking for the different groups, you don't want all D's, right?
Right,
You don't want all I's. You need a mixture of all those personalities to be able to make a fully functional, successful company.
right.
And it also impacts your clients in a positive way.
Yes,
They can think outside of the box and not just in one way. Whereas the predictive index is probably a little bit more detailed on behavior
right,
and cognitive skills. And I can tell you, anytime that I've hired against the range of what it recommends, I've regretted it.
right.
So I'm not saying it's 100%, but it does give you further insight of how to manage and lead that particular person because it helps you understand their communication style, also your communication style as their leader or manager.
Mhm.
And yeah, there's just so many tools. I do believe that it enhances the experience of retention and employee engagement. And before having any assessments, I was turning over like crazy. I've been
Yeah.
able to retain employees a lot better by implementing assessments.
Yeah, I love that. And that was something that we've used with other clients before, but you were very precise. My takeaway for anybody listening to this would be you really do need to define the role. I love this one quote. Basically, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. That's not such a good thing in hiring. So, really defining the role and getting that clarity and using assessments and really knowing what to look for. That was always something I thought, just in working with you as a client, you knew. So when it did appear with my team, we knew how to grab that person and bring them over to your company, which is why I think we've done a lot of things together. So I love that you said that. It's very true. Here's another one for you. If you could give yourself just one piece of advice, if you were starting this process from the beginning again, before you had kind of connected with us, what would that advice be?
Multiple interviews. Do not just go based off of the first interview. Do it multiple times. I can tell you by doing it at least 3 times, you have your video recorded interview with your recruiter. That helps, right? And usually within the first 5 minutes, I can tell if that person's going to be a good fit or not.
Yeah.
But then meeting with them in person and making sure you have the right people in the room that are going to be overseeing that role as well is super important. And then another interview on top of that. Even though it's a long, drawn out process, I can tell you I've caught so many things and having at least 3 choices, right?
Yep.
So that's what I would say going into it. I would have in the beginning added that last interview, that third interview.
Yeah, I love that. And it does show you also sometimes people will disqualify themselves, especially if you're hiring some of these positions like a DOO or your project manager. If it's an inconvenience to go through a process that is a little longer, well, that is telling you something about this person. So I love that you brought that up. And yeah, you know the process well. It's awesome. So I want to just ask for you and Langston and for James, your husband, what's next for you guys? What are you excited about next?
I'm excited to keep building a team that just flows. They respect each other, they're professional in their area of expertise, and they're really impacting our clients and the community, building long-lasting relationships.
I love that. So if you are looking for some of their services, how can they find you?
Yeah, well, you can look at our website at langstonsecurity.com or call us at 623-298-7191.
Awesome. And I would just say too, and knowing Kristen a little bit, she has a huge passion, huge heart for people, great energy. She is working with, the younger generation in helping in some of the industries that are actually really hard to find people in right now. And it's a secret, but maybe not here, but a book will be coming out down the road as well. Amazing businesswoman. So please connect with Kristen. Thanks so much for your time today, Kristen.
Thank you, Steve.